In this video, I will go ahead and continue with the functionality on the remaining buttons in this tool and try to cover them as much as possible in next 10 to 15 minutes inside this video. So without further ado, let's continue. So as you can see, we have this glass button here. If I click on this button, every object will be selected whose materials are having translucency or glass properties. Suppose I want to understand how much object in the scene are having translucent material applied on them, right? So if I go ahead and click on glass, so they will all be selected instantly. And now since I have the selection, I can do whatever I want, and at least I understand what are the objects whose material are translucent as of now. This is almost the default input from Max to Unreal Engine using Datasmith plugin. So now to make it simpler, this button selects every static mesh in the scene which has glass material or translucent material properties in the scene. So click, all the object with glass or translucent material properties will be selected. Same for this. So I will go ahead and click on this emissive button, and every object whose material has emissive properties will be selected. So even if an object is having multiple IDs, and even if one material ID is having translucent material property, it will be selected. Now same for subsurface. I just click on this, and every object in the scene where their material is using subsurface property will be selected, but as of now there is no material using subsurface property, so nothing gets selected. Same for the IOR. So if I click on IOR, any of the material IDs are using refraction properties will be selected. Same for opaque. So if I click on this button, then every object in the scene whose blend mode is opaque will be selected. Now this button selects every object in the mesh with empty material slots. So if I go ahead and click on it, you will see these objects are selected. That means Datasmith was not able to bring the material of these objects, right? And then these objects, this object, two materials were not able to import this, and I already know which are those objects. So this object, this three material was not imported by the Datasmith plugin. So as you can see, if I go here again, click on this empty slot, and just in a click I now know which are the object whose material was not properly imported by the Datasmith, and I'm talking about the default Datasmith. Now multiple material IDs. So if I want to select all the static mesh in the scene with multiple material IDs, I can just go ahead and click on this button, and all the objects whose material IDs are having multiple IDs are selected. That means this one. So all these objects are having multiple material IDs. So if I have this information because of this button being there and selecting all the objects with multiple material IDs, I can just go ahead and do any kind of operation based on my requirement to improve them further if needed. And this tool also has some features to help us in that, which we will be seeing later down in the video or in the upcoming videos. Then select similar content. That means if I search this object in the scene, or if let's take this as an example. So if I press Ctrl B, now I want to select every object that this asset is being used, right? So this is called select similar content, right? So there is something selected in the content browser, and now you want to select every object that is using that specific thing or static mesh in the scene. So if I select a mesh in the content browser, and if I click select similar content, so this chair being used in the scene, everywhere all those chairs will be selected. And now the reverse. So suppose I have selected this object in the scene, and now I want to select every object or instances that are being used from the same object in the content browser. So suppose I don't have anything selected in the scene, I have selected this object in the scene, and suppose now I want to see what are the objects which are being used or having the same properties. So I'll just go ahead and click similar scene, and every object, every instance of that same specific object are selected in the scene, which is insanely helpful if needed, right? So vice versa, I have something selected in the scene, I click on select similar content, and that gets selected in the scene. I select anything in the scene, and then I click select similar scene, and then all the instances of that object, if any, will be selected. Suppose I select this, I click select similar, and nothing selected because this is not being used in the scene more than once. So now let's continue further. If I go ahead and select this object, I'm going to explain the functionality of this button now. So if I press Ctrl B and then I bring the mouse over it, I can clearly see the Nanite is disabled, right? So Nanite enabled is false. I can also go ahead and cross check if I want. So here Nanite is disabled. For some reason, I want to select any mesh, right? And I realize that I want to enable Nanite. I just go ahead and click on enable Nanite. So I select this, click on enable Nanite in scene. So anything that is selected in the level, outliner, or in the scene, and we just click on this and Nanite will be enabled. So if I go ahead and press Ctrl E and open it again, you see here Nanite is enabled, right? Now if I go ahead and click on disable Nanite in scene, so Nanite will be disabled. So if I go ahead and open it, see Nanite is disabled now. Again, if I haven't selected anything in the scene and something is selected in the content browser and I want to enable Nanite or disable, then I will have to use this button. So enable Nanite on in content browser. So enable Nanite on any static mesh selected in the content browser, you have to click on this button. So I see here Nanite enable is false. I go ahead and click on this, and now if I hover the mouse, it says Nanite enabled true, and I can just disable. So anything that is selected in the content browser, I can select as much object as I want, and I don't have to right click and then go to Nanite and then enable. I can just select everything here and click on enable Nanite in content or disable Nanite in content, which makes very fast. You don't have to right click then go to Nanite, enable, disable. Just select disable, select enable inside content browser, or also it can be done in the scene level or outliner level. So anything selected in outliner or scene or in the level, you can just enable and disable using enable Nanite scene and disable Nanite scene. So as you can see, if I go ahead and right click on this and see Nanite is enabled. So again, if I go ahead and select all this and click on disable Nanite in content browser, it will disable Nanite in the content browser. And this can be same done in the scene level. So I can select this and click enable Nanite in scene, or I can go ahead select and this and click disable Nanite in the scene. So it gives you ultimate flexibility if you are working as an artist in a scene, to not go ahead and to save you away with multiple clicks for doing certain things on all these things which you wanted, right? Now let's talk about this voxelize. So if I go ahead and I can see this is a chair, right, and it's not a foliage object. And if I realize that some object is like grass or maybe tree or maybe plant or bush, which is kind of foliage, I'm not talking about something similar to this, because you are always going to view or see it from very far when you will be inside the room, because this is foliage but it is inside. But we are talking about large scale. If you are talking about a large area and you want to see, and you have millions of trees inside it, that is called foliage, right? So suppose on foliage you have to enable Nanite, but enabling Nanite will not be enough. Let's assume that this object is a bush, right, and I want to enable foliage but with voxel. So if at the moment you go ahead, press Ctrl B, right click, enable Nanite, then voxelize is not enabled. You still have to go ahead again, open it, or in the first instance you will have to go here and open like this, and then you will go ahead and change this shape preservation to voxelize and then click apply. So if something is a foliage, you would want to enable Nanite and then enable voxelize on it to take the advantage of latest Nanite technology in Unreal Engine. But for that, you will have to necessarily open the mesh, then go here, click on this, then click on this, and then click on this, voxelize, and then. So you see how many multiple clicks, and just imagine about lots of objects you are trying to do and very fast. But what this does is, if I select this object, which you can see Nanite is not enabled and voxelize is not enabled. So all I have to do is select this mesh, click on voxelize. What will happen? It will enable Nanite and it will enable voxelize. So if I go ahead and open this static mesh now, we are assuming these three are bushes, and if I go here, Nanite is enabled and voxelize is activated, already done for us. So you can imagine I can just select all these three and click voxelize, and or you can select as much tree as you want in the scene and just click a button, and all the trees, even if you have forgot to enable or activate voxelize, it will go ahead and activate and enable voxelize for you. Now let's continue with fix for path tracing. For some reason you are using path tracing to render your scene or image or something like that, right? So you will sometimes see the mesh is a little bit pixelated or not good, right? And not very high detailed. You are losing some quality on the meshes. So what you can do, you can go ahead and enable or disable Nanite, or you can go ahead and suppose Nanite is enabled here in the scene, and the meshes, it doesn't happen on each and every mesh in the scene, but sometimes it happens on few of the mesh. So all you have to do is select the meshes which are not looking good in path tracing, just the meshes which doesn't look good in path tracing, and click on fix for path tracing. I will explain you what it does after it calculates it. So now it will be very in detail and it will not lose any quality. So let me explain what happened here. So if I go ahead here, and if Nanite was already enabled, and when you switch to path tracing, the mesh was losing its details. So if you go ahead and click on that button, right, fix for path tracing, what will happen is it will go ahead in the Nanite setting and it will change this fallback target to relative error and then set its value to 0, right? And if I go ahead, so suppose let's see here, if I go ahead press Ctrl E, and then here Nanite, it's platform and auto. If I go ahead and click on this Ctrl B, and if I click on this fix for path tracing, after it does its job, if we go ahead and open it, so now if I go ahead and open it, you see here platform default relative error, and it has become 0%, triangle, and you can be set to 0, exactly the same. You can set it to 100. These are having glass material, so anyway you will not be able to fix them, but I will show you how to fix them step by step in coming videos. So in this video I covered all this button, and in the next video I will cover the remaining buttons and their uses and how we can use them. So I will see you all in the next video. Till then, have a great time.